This is the deal.
This is the deal. Look how, I mean, look at this. He is so sad. He doesn't even care that he can't see because he's knocked his glasses off.
That's why it's all.
He's
blurry.
actually
That's why it's all blurry here.
Yeah, he's so sad. He's decreased in resolution.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, this is bad.
Yeah,
this is worse than whenever Tim Dog left the Xbox community, Matt.
Oh dear.
Deep cut that 3 people will remember.
Yeah. So let's break it down. The problem here is that
The game's doomed.
the game's dead forever, and there's no coming back.
Jesus, look at Razagath's beak.
Get awoken to get broken. I don't know.
I've
Like.
just noticed because I've looked at the picture in our document. Look at that gnarly thing.
Razagath's cool as hell.
Yeah, she was the best.
Yeah.
Razagath felt more like a proper end boss than anything else we dealt with this expansion.
Yeah, Razagath's one of my favorite bosses in the game.
Big Giga Chad versus fucking little stupid lizard and I don't know, just silly cockman.
So, sorry. Could you elaborate on why you've called him silly cockman?
Well, because he's very peacockish, Farak. You know, he's very look how big and nasty I am. Rawr. Feel the bite of Feralath. And then he just falls over. It's one of those things. Tuning actually does impact the story.
It does.
I mean, the story of like you experiencing the story, that sounds weird. But like Razagath felt for her tiny screen time way more cool to defeat, and your character felt like way more of a champion of the whatever. Because like there you are, it's a big vault. It's a big vault, looks very large, very good. And you know, the vault actually sort of matters more in the fight. You know, it was a real big fight and it was kind of hard. And then you go to Sarkarath and you're like, oh, I'm in a spooky room. We're not going to talk about any of the spookiness or really have much of an impact, you know, that much. And then Farak is just, it's a fight in a circle. Sometimes I'm a man, sometimes I'm a dragon.
Yeah, so tuning's like, because you said tuning's the thing, and this is a little bit of a side point, right? But you're completely correct, because you're supposed to have a final boss feel like a final boss.
Yeah.
Why do you think Argus and...
Well, that's why Zoval, of course, the most nerfed boss in history, that's why Zoval was such a great character, because he was almost unkillable at the start.
Yeah.
That's why we love Shadowlands.
Definitely. And like... Yeah. That's why I think Argus and Arthas are two of the better boss fights ever put in the game. Because they just fucking kill us. And obviously go, well, it's just kind of gimmicky. But here's the thing where you kind of detach yourself when you go, well, they just kill us, just forced kill. Blah, 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 blah. 57-minute tangent incoming. I'll make it 60 just for you. So there's nothing more, what's the term I'm looking for? Anticlimactic. There's nothing more anticlimactic than ludonarrative dissonance. Which means play narrative dissonance, which means play story doesn't line up, which basically means
Nathan Drake is a psychopath.
Yeah, Nathan Drake has shot hundreds, if not thousands, of people on the way. Like, a good example is Tomb Raider. You play the Tomb Raider remake, and it goes, Lara's this like kind of new, fresh person. She's not really. This is her story of when she becomes the Tomb Raider, which they do 3 games in a row, but. Because the rise of the Tomb Raider, and then but you're like, okay, right, and we've got this new character, this fresh character, and she's about to make like one of her first kills, and then you're just like, give me mouse and keyboard, and the bow is just headshot. Very good. I have taken out like a whole mountain full of people. Great, fantastic. But that applies. Like those are kind of silly versions of it where you have to have some split, right? But it feels terrible when a final boss is not actually a final boss.
Yeah.
When they fall over,
mythic.
it tilts.
It is a mythic. It isn't a normal and heroic. But, I mean, it is a little bit besides the point. I think I just saw Razagath's beak, and that just started a whole tangent.
Yeah,
the main thing that people are talking about is that it is raw.
Yeah.
These are raw, and they really are quite raw. Raw and unseasoned. Because there's no twists. Yeah, so far.
No one has cooked on this. That's why it's been called raw, because no one has cooked on it. Because I do realize we are just using Zoomer Isles terminology here, because that's just how it works these days. But
That's it. The wheels have indeed fallen off the bus.
Yeah, exactly. A good thing the bus flies and we all jump out of it onto the island.
Oh no.
So, if we're to drill the problems down into what they actually are, we're 2 tangents deep how far we can go. No, we're going back. We're going back to the topic. We're not derailed. We put the wheels back on the bus. Put the bus
we
back
are now
on the road.
firmly railed.
Yes. Oh dear. So the problem is that we've already done these raids, right? And there are the affixes and Shadowlands. And everyone's like, they're okay, I guess. Sure, fine, whatever. But why do the same raids again?
Yes.
And you look at it's the same argument for the dungeons, kind of. But there's an element of the dungeons being, this is just a thing you do.
What are you going to do when you finish your tube of Pringles and you find yourself in the shop again?
Yeah,
But I suppose the difference is...
buy water because you're really thirsty after all Pringles.
The difference is you've been snacking on bags of Walker's Max, jalapeno and cheese. But then there's a new season and there's suddenly Walker's Max prawn cocktail. And now, you know, are you still eating a crisp? Yes. It's got different seasoning. No.
What the fuck are you talking about?
This is our problem.
No. Our problem is not as complicated as that. Our problem is literally, it's the same rate.
Yeah. Actually, we could just stop dancing around the problem.
And
they've
also,
done absolutely fuck all to change it, and that means it's kind of wank and it's really boring, and to be honest, there's absolutely no reason why anyone in their right mind would be excited to do this other than if they want to play it on new classes. There we go. Done. Easy clap.
No, I'm going to disagree with that.
Darn.
I'm going to disagree on a fundamental purview, which is the raids should be fun in and of themselves to do. Because by saying you don't want to do the old thing again, then you kind of go, well, what if that principle applies to time walking? And someone goes, I've already done all the war, I don't want to do it again. I've already done Throne of Thunder, I don't want to do it again. It's like that,
recently.
That, but on like a smaller time scale. Which is like, I kind of get that for the problem with like, I don't want to do a major soul. Like, I don't want to do a major soul again. I don't want to do it. I don't care if I'm a new class. I don't care if it's, I don't know if it's hard. I don't care if it's progress. If you're like, come do a major soul, I'll be like,
but Matt,
you're gonna have to really
can
convince me.
experience fighting Nimue with a 4070.
My frame rate won't be any higher.
Yeah, you may get 5 more frames.
Yeah, because that's all architecture stuff. Anyway, the problem is that the rotating raids here, right? And this is weird because rotating raids is a pretty good idea for just a different raid every week. Just go in and have fun. If you're doing LFR or normal or even heroic and you're just getting in, you're just blasting through it and getting some gear, it's a pretty good idea for just keeping things fresh.
Yeah.
But if you're heroic and you're not running over it and you're kind of like progging it a little bit, or if you're mythic and you're progressing, then that's just, there's 3 weeks between you progressing the same raid. Well, basically 2 weeks because you're at the end of a week to the start of a new week. But it's a kind of thing that fundamentally battles with the way people, especially mythic and heroic raiders, actually play the game.
I have a insane, Matt, this may in fact be a sick, nasty take. You could just write, you're like they said, a best of. What if they made a new raid by, setting it up as a training arc? That's what season 4 is. Chromie's like, well done. Well done. I've made a new raid for you so you can hone your skills until the War Within happens. Because, of course, Chromie knows about Blizzard's future release plans. So you just do a 10-boss raid, right? And you just take the best bosses of each of these raids. And then you sort of do... maybe an Uber version, maybe a funky version. You cook with them a little bit. So, it could, that's it done. Because at least that would feel a bit different.
Yeah, so this is the problem, whereas Nice Punch said, just do X. Literally just do more stuff. And that's clearly the problem where
anything.
Yeah, we're continually bouncing up against this where it's like, we're getting content faster in a lot of cases. Before. We've got stuff like Plunderstorm. We're getting some PvE experiment. There's always something to be upset about. There's always someone to be upset about.
Oh, there must be discourse.
People, if they had said affixes are back, they'd have said, no, fuck your affixes. Get your affixes out of my game. So they say, well, no affixes then.
And then they call it Awaken.
How do you like it without affixes?
Yeah, it's Awaken, but once woken up, Matt.
The item level's higher. Like that's the fucking deal.
We had sleepy item levels previously.
Yeah. The point is that this is literally filler. This is filler. This is fuck you, do it again, because last time we didn't give you something. But you sat and looked at a raid and said, I don't want to look at a Mirrorsill for 9 months. Give me something new.
One of the best bits of Christmas dinner is literally filler. It's stuffing. Filler can be good if it's full of juice. Where's the juice?
I don't know why you make stuffing with juice, but that doesn't taste good.
Well, chicken juice gets into the stuffing. Because it's in the chicken or the turkey.
Right, okay. Okay. I was like, why are you putting orange juice in your stuff? It makes like, what's wrong with your
where's the...
Yeah, the answer is is everywhere else.
Yes, it is. Yes,
it is. And this is why the title of today's stream is Season 4 looks undercooked, but that's okay. Because everyone's like, this is shit. Where's my stuff? And if Blizzard were allowed to, they would turn around and say, fucking calm down, boys.
Yes.
There's a patch coming in like 2 weeks. Would you fuck up?
The response is, where are we dropping, boys?
Yeah. The response is, like, we're not your fucking babysitters. Go do anything else for a brief period of time. Go do anything else within the game. If you're looking on, well, I'm actually kind of frustrated that I have to do the same raids again. It's like, no, you don't. Log the fuck out. Which then brings...
play Plunderstorm.
Or go back to the servers like Realm screen and play Plunderstorm.
Play Storm Stout Survivors.
Or play Season of Discovery. Or play Storm Stout Survivors, which is not going to be called because that goes too hard. Or go play Kata Classic Beta or whatever.
Go play Kata Classic Beta.
And this is the problem we get to, where it's like, also go touch grass. Take a break before we give you a new expansion to No Life Over. And this is the eternal struggle. But then people are turning around going, Mythic guilds will die because some people want to do Mythic raids and some people won't. And you go,
oh no.
That so much sounds like a fucking skill issue to me. And like, I know I'm speaking from my perspective because I haven't been in a Mythic guild for a long time, especially not when like Fader was around. And our guild is like, we'll just like not talk to each other for 6 months and be content, go, all right, let's raid again. But I just don't get it.
Do you know why?
No, like, sorry,
you're playing Dragon's Dogma 2, Matt.
Yeah,
you're not a mono gamer, and I actually think that's a really big. And because one of the things that we ran into with the Plunderstorm thing is because there's so many mono gamers in WoW, you kind of get a lot of that like common. I play video games on an identity level, and I have done for 20 years. Common knowledge isn't there with a bunch of WoW players. I remember you being so fucking angry that Mythic Raiders couldn't play Frogger in Eminar the Soul Hunter.
Oh, yes. That was good. That was so fun. I love anytime any mini game requires any general gaming knowledge or general skill set beyond World of Warcraft. And you just turn around and go, hey, Lorgox, how's that fucking uncross the wires doing, big man? That's the obviously the memed one. But it's so crazy. It's so crazy. The only problem with that argument, IMO, is that we pay a monthly fee, so their expectations stuff will warrant that fee. Now that does run into problems when they're incentivizing a 6 month sub, they do have something that, and then you go, well, like, yeah, but also contend with reality to some degree.
That's the theme park thing. It's like if you buy an annual pass, and I don't know, it's universal and therefore good. You'll probably buy another one. If you buy an annual pass and it's Disney, you are shit. Yeah. You're probably like, oh God, no. No, I've been ripped off. And I guess that's the thing. That being said, compared to, do you remember the days where your 6 month sub would come and go without anything happening in the game?
Yeah, so like, it's awkward. And this is something,
to be worse.
This is something that I kind of fell into thinking when it came to like the Dragon's Dogma debate over microtransaction stuff. Everyone's like super hopped up on thinking in principles. And I was like, I pay my monthly sub.
Yes,
so if I don't have something new today every day, Blizzard should explode. Like that's how people talk, because they think in the principle of, well, I'm paying for something, so I should have value. And like, that's true. Like that's actually literally true, but also it's not realistic. And there's like a pragmatism to going, well, where does principle meet reality in some form? And they're like, well, okay. Does it kind of suck that Season 4 isn't the most cooked thing of all time? Yes. Is there also a game full of stuff to do? Yes. There is a certain point where your preferences become a skill issue in a way. And that sounds insane. And it sounds like the most Blizzard defense shit of all time to turn around and say, well, if you have a preference, that's your problem. But it is also literally kind of true. There's plenty of value in the WoW sub, generally speaking. Obviously, you can talk about like how much you don't want kata and how much scene discovery is going too fast and how much plunder from PvP. And like that's all completely like fair perspective and stuff. But at the same time, there is an element of just have some tiny semblance of a life. That comes from me. I got a fucking life. I should play Dragon's Dogma. But that's kind of that's the awkward thing.
What I will say is I get that, and I agree in principle. I agree in principle.
Oh, he's got me right there.
But in this case, I do actually think that it is underwhelming. Yeah, I do think that I think it's rightly underwhelming, and if they're doing these experiments, it's ideal if there is not the perception that those come at the expense of game feature things. And
that's the point, because there's nothing to imply that, realistically.
Yes.
There's nothing to imply that because we're 5 months out.
Yeah, but it's black box. It's black box. People don't know.
We're 5 months out from an expansion, which is faster than usual. So it kind of feels like
but people
either way you're kind of...
people could kill fated Zovalmat, and whenever they did kill the fated Chuckler, they were in great jubilation over the affixes that would be there while they did so. Because I think some of this then, and obviously that was not a particularly seriously thing that I said. I think I actually think it's a perception thing.
Yeah, it clearly is.
Because by there being nothing here, the perception is, it's kind of busted. Because the thing is, right, to what the community want, I completely agree with Jack. You could maybe have your whatever raid stuff, but maybe scale up Nighthold or Tomb of Sargeras.
See, that's the problem, because you say scale up, and then you go, well, what scaling up isn't at all.
Developer problem.
Yeah, which brings
skill issue.
Yeah, which brings us to the problem of the developers are busy making the next content.
That's the developer problem.
As opposed to the now content.
Developer problem.
And this is the case where
producer problem.
All things can simultaneously be true, which leaves us in an awkward situation of who's right. Everybody's fucking right to some degree.
So that's how everybody can be righteously angry at each other.
Exactly. And this is how it keeps going. It's just people are like, oh, well, they should just upskill an old raid. And you go, yeah, they should.
That's why the robots put us in the pods to harvest our energy.
Yeah, but also if they upskill an old raid, then the next raid comes out and the balance isn't quite there, or it's not as good, and then people complain.
Yeah.
And it's like the community wants every single battle to be won at once, because every individual part of every community wants every single of their battle to be won at all times. PvP are going, PvP's what, fix MMR, bring us battlegrounds. And PvEers are going to give us new dungeons instead of old ones. I don't want to do old dungeons again. I was like, give us different raids instead of the ones from this expansion. And then Blizzard are sat there going, what do I do? How can I do enough for everyone? And that's kind of the problem. It's like they kind of can't.
Yeah.
They kind of really can't. And that's the part that's where being real about it is like frustrating. And obviously, like, people can go online and say what they want, and that is their God-given right. Well, I don't think God made the internet. I think he's probably avidly against it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, just add that in your long list of questions and complaints.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, he created the one thing, the Karen. Like, yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate going to the manager.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it feels like there's probably a little bit of efficiency in their end by learning to give us what is the minimum effort they can put into a remix or remake or remaster ever of a thing that won't have us furious and upset. Or realistically won't have us not, go elsewhere.
Yeah. So I think the way I take it is I think what would be ideal is one of two things. And of course, one of them is one of my ideas because I'm incredibly biased, Matt. I think that they should just do the flippin' go to the temporal conflux and string together a raid, make the final 3 bosses of the raid be the 3 big dragons, and do some sort of the flippin' Dragonflight remixed, remastered special, whatever. Do something like that.
I think they should do nothing. I think
so that it feels different, or do what Jack said, where you go to the temporal conflux and there's the flipping, I don't know, Dragonflight, Ultimate, crazy, whatever, or just go do an old raid. But it would be ideal for there to be something. And Matt, there is one thing that is different. 3 raids in an expansion.
Yeah.
In Legion, we did not have that. We had more. In Battle of Azeroth, we had 4 raids. Now, in a way, those were more expensive expansions because you had more subscription, because they were longer expansions. But certainly, you are paying a box price plus sub fee for 3 raids, and in the past, it did used to be 4 raids. But you're getting other things that are better.
Yeah.
So that'll be the other side of things. If you're somebody who is like you literally raiding in WoW, for you it is not a holistic experience, it's raiding. Then this is rougher. And you will have multiple gaming months where you will starve. Now we know a human can last, only a matter of days without water, a matter of weeks without food. What will it be without cooked raid content?
Prognosis is grim.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It's like, it is just such a, like, I come from the weird perspective where personally, and I know this isn't right, personally, I'd be more than happy if they just went, fuck you, no season 4, don't play my game. It's all just there, just do whatever you want. I'm like, okay, chill, that's fine. That's fine. That works for me specifically. Like, basically baked in bricks, which obviously doesn't work for mono gamers and things like that. So it is a little bit like, especially when you consider like how much of it, because that's a good point, I think, actually, Anthony. Are big patches part of the subscription fee or the expansion purchase? And this is where we get into interesting conversation where is a subscription supposed to pay for patch? Or is it supposed to pay for continued access to the game and the servers and the maintenance and stuff? And then you go, well, how much of your box price are you paying for an expansion versus how much the sub fee for the expansion? So like, how much are you paying for Dragonflight? You're paying like $270 for Dragonflight and sub if it lasts 18 months, paying $270 for that. Which is a little bit bigger than was it $60? Was it $60 or $50? I can't remember the dollar amount.
I have forgotten as well.
Yeah. So it's like you're actually paying 5 times as much for the patches than you are for the expansion. So how does that work? Are the expansions the leveling zones and the patches pay for, or the fee pays for the patches? What does this mean? So it is like, it is really weird. And it's all these like different parts of perception, different parts of like, where is the value proposition? What do people actually kind of want here and there? So I feel like this is a lot of obscene amount of kind of principle discussion of like what you're paying for, which gets all very muddy when you have different perspectives. And it comes to, well, I'm buying the expansion when it's 3 raids and I'm buying the expansion. Or like, yeah, but you're also paying for all the sub for the expansion. And also you can have the raids if you don't buy the expansion to the next one's out. Also, like, you're paying $270 as opposed to paying, what would you pay, like $400 for Shadowlands? Or like $500 for Siege of Orgrimmar, for Miss Madara, that kind of stuff over the time of it all. Which is like it gets really muddy and hard to communicate in any way that people are going to agree on. And rightfully so. It's not easy. There's no answer here. There's no
value. There's no universal.
That. Yeah, there's no universal way to actually like to discuss that.
What I could say,
it does bring us to the point where like, if
we fundamentally are rooted in a discussion that is about current people.
Yeah.
if you were, so I guess really what Blizzard will be saying, okay, so our offensive plays for this period of time could be that we mix up the raids and that stuff, but clearly they have another offensive play to get people interested. So that's what they've got. I suppose that's just what they've decided.
Yeah,
which could be entirely vindicated once we see what the PvE thing is. We just don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, and so there is a pragmatic answer, which is it'd be really nice if they were able to cook slightly, just redistribute resources to a degree, so people don't have ever have any reason to complain, which is kind of the problem. And it's like, every time anything happens, someone is unhappy. Such is life.
Yep, such is life. Such is MMOs.
Yeah.